know that 1 in 3 of us experience knee pain at some point in our lives? I'm going to put my hand up. I'm one of those. What about you, Sel? Are you one of those? Ever had knee pain?
No, I'm one of the lucky ones,
You're one of the lucky ones.
and I'm very yeah. I've got everything crossed, even my knees. Yeah.
So, hey, everybody, it is Peter and Sel here from Strong Healthy Women, and we're going to talk about knee pain today. So, I've had dodgy knees since I was in my young years, because I've got a funny looking kneecap, and so it functions a little bit different. So it's been one of those things that I'm really important to make sure that my knees function the way that they should do. And here's the thing about knee pain that is really interesting is that most of the time knee pain is not coming from knee pain itself, it's coming from a different part of our body. So it's that our knees are actually doing a job that they shouldn't be doing. And so I know that my knees got worse when I broke my ankles because I lost that mobility, that flexibility that I had in my ankles. So I really had to do a lot of work to actually improve that aspect of my body. So, Sal, let's throw to you for a minute. What do you want to talk to us about in regards to knee pain?
I want to talk about knee pain not being a old people issue.
Yeah.
Because it's not. I was just actually thinking back to my niece,
Mm-hmm.
and I was thinking, my train of thought was, I wonder if people did have knee issues when they were younger that were never diagnosed. So my niece was, I think, 13 or 14.
Yeah.
And she was having a little bit of issue with one of her knees, and it was actually that her patella wasn't in place.
Yes.
So while she was growing, she had to tape her patella across, like pull it across back into place. And that was, every day, the whole time while she was still growing. And that goes back to, when she was 14. So I was thinking, perhaps if you do have knee issues, is it something that's never been diagnosed? And as you've gotten older, it's gotten worse, or it's come out a little bit more.
Yeah. And so what Sal's talking about there is the patella. We'd know it as a kneecap, right? So, yeah. And so one of the things that I know that we can have a tendency to do a lot is to push forward into that part of our knee. So, it starts to get that breakdown, that wear and tear. And so what happens is, because we're moving in that way, and it's something that we've been doing for quite some time, it means that we're probably not actually activating our glute muscles. So if you think about it, if I go to push forward, which we should be able to do, let's face it, you should be able to push forward into your knee. There's no doubt about that. But when we're actually doing that and we're not using our muscles as they were designed to do, we are creating more wear and tear in that part, and that's when we're going to start to get pain. So one of the areas that really impacts knee pain is just not activating our glute muscles.
And this goes back to what you were just saying before, is that it's not actually the knee, it's the bottom.
Yeah, for sure. And it's really interesting because I was talking with Julia the other day, and she has issues with her knee, and she's got an issue with her ITB, which runs down the outside of the leg there, ladies. And so what happened is, because it was so bad for her, she went off to the physio and she got some exercises. And I said, oh, great. What exercises did she get? And she did a little video for me and shot them through. And I looked at them and I said to her, now you are activating your glutes first before you do that, right? And she said, no, what do you mean? And I said, I'm sure your physio has told you this, but, so let me just explain it to you. And so, I then broke down, the 3 different muscles that are in your glute muscles and that make up those gluteals, I should say. And so, she could see the differences in them. And I said, so what we want to do, and it doesn't matter what exercise we do or how we move, we want to make sure we've always got that mind muscle connection. So we're actually feeling it and understanding it. One of the things that I recently did was, and this, so we have put together a 21-day knee pain solution, which really is all about activating all these different parts of our body. And so yeah, and so I like to do these things myself, once they're all put together. And so I started to actually just engage one side of my glutes, and I've got my hand on my backside, trying to really feel it. And it was really interesting how it was so much harder on one side of the body to the other. So, and it only took like 2 days before I went, oh, okay, I'm switching it on now. So it is a really interesting thing to be aware of, that sometimes knee pain is just simply that we need to activate our muscles.
So, yeah. And the other thing too is you're talking about then, activating your glute muscles to help with your knee pain. It's not something that you have to do. It's not something that you have to consciously do for the rest of your life.
No.
If you practice it, it's like any strength training that you do. If you practice it every time you do a workout for 4, 8, 12 weeks, yes, it just then becomes habit. And your mind goes, okay, well, something doesn't feel right. Oh, okay, my glutes aren't activated.
Absolutely.
So it's not something that has to be consciously happening for the rest of your life. As I said, start doing it and start practicing it, and it will just become second nature.
Yeah. And if you even think about it, those glute muscles, if they're not being activated, we can often hear about lower back pain as well too. And so, yes, that's a combination of making sure that we've got those glute muscles activated, but also that we've got our core muscles. And so what happens is we often think that they're just the abdominal muscles, but they're not. There's a series of muscles that make up the core. And so learning how to engage all of your muscles certainly can help with all sorts of pain that we might be experiencing. So the other 2 areas that you really want to work on and be aware of is how much, I'm going to call it flexibility for the moment, because everyone's going to relate to that. How much flexibility you've got in your ankles, which I've alluded to already, but your hips is the other area that you want to be aware of as well too. So sometimes knees are coming from weaker muscles, hips, or glutes. And ankles. And so when you actually start to learn how to have these things functioning better, you go, oh, where's that knee pain gone? It's disappeared. Or maybe it's just improved for you. And one of the things is about, and as I said, I'm going to call it flexibility, but it really is mobility. So a lot of girls I know in our age bracket, what they do is they go, I need to improve my flexibility. I'm going to yoga. Now, I love yoga. Don't get me wrong here. But it's not really about flexibility. It is about mobility. And the minute I say that word, you're going to have this image of a woman or a man on the little wheelie walkers, in the shopping centre. But it's not. Mobility is just our ability to move with ease and freedom. And so what it is making sure that our joints and our muscle in that area, they're working together. So,
yes,
the reality is most of us should be doing some type of mobility type of training.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. And think about, talking about mobility, think about how many times during your day do you think about how you're going to move before you're actually doing it. So walking downstairs, stepping off a step, are you taking those few, 20 years ago, you had no fear. Yep, I can step off that step. I can step up that step. I can carry my laundry basket up the stairs. I can carry my laundry basket down the stairs. But these days, if your mobility and you think about your mobility and you have that fear there, you're not moving freely.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and you mentioned this the other day to me, you went to go down the stairs and you were moving really slowly and you went to hang on to the wall and everything like that because you were scared of falling. Absolutely. I mean, it really does impact.
And that's not free mobility at all.
No. Yeah, so when you catch yourself starting to hold on to things or move in a different way, I always say catch a glimpse of yourself as you're walking, as an example, and see what you're doing. Are you up over those hips, or are you, leaning forward into it? And because that can indicate that there may be something there that needs that level of improvement. So I think the three big causes of knee pain are, chronic degeneration, osteoarthritis, and the patella injury that you were talking about, or some type of wear and tear in that area. So I think they're the three key areas that we want to be aware of. But, if you have been to your health professionals and you've had it reviewed and specifically that it is, related to, for example, that degeneration, then, you can actually start to improve it. And I'm sure that they'll make those recommendations by doing the right type of movements. Because let's face it, if we stop using it, we're going to lose it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think another study I read was like 65% of us. I think it was 65% of us. I could be wrong there. Actually are scared to exercise because of aches and pains and injuries. No, it's 50%. There you go. Wow. I had to get into my memory bank there. The old age had to do a little bit of work. Yeah. So, so 50% of us are scared to exercise because of, any type of pain that we happen to have. But we recently did a poll in one of our groups, which has got, 2,000 women in it over the age of 50. And I said, what type of aches and pains do you have? Number one winner was knee pain. And yet, if we were to do these types of movements, we could possibly and probably improve that knee pain that we have. Second winner was shoulder pain. It's pretty interesting stuff. But if you think about a knee pain in itself, you get limitations in squatting, lunging if you're exercising. And if you think about squatting and lunging, they're a foundational move as far as movement is concerned. If you can't squat, you're not going to be getting down to the ground, which means, you're going to struggle to get into those low cupboards. You're going to struggle to get up from those cupboards. You're going to struggle to get down and play with your grandkids or pick something up if you drop it, as an example. And, lunging, it's the very foundation of moving, walking. So you will start to experience different types of limitations in your life, and we don't want that.
No. That I always go to with the squatting, I always go to the bathroom. That is the number one. You squat when you go to the bathroom, and I always tell our clients we learn to squat so we can use public toilets. Now, But it's such a, a catch-22. You were saying they it's that fear of working out because am I going to make the pain worse?
Yeah.
But if you work out, you'll, as you said, the pain could go away completely. It could diminish by 90%. It could, whatever it is. So you just have to get over that fear. And the other thing too is, remember, you're not going in when you start out doing any sort of exercise. You're not going in running a marathon or competing in a CrossFit Games or, going to the Olympics. Always start at your base level, whatever that may be.
Yeah, for
you
sure.
may squat to your knees are at 90, your legs are at 90 degrees. You may only get your bottom down that much, but you have to start at your base level and just, get over that fear of starting. Now, I have a client who has, and this is Shane Peter that I'm talking about. He has had two knee replacements.
Yeah.
And, you look at his knees and they're both completely different. His left one is very still swollen. It still gets really hot. He still gets pain in it.
Yes.
So a knee replacement or knee surgery or anything like that doesn't necessarily mean that your pain's going to go away. So for me personally, and we were talking about this the other day, be your own medication. So for me personally, if I had knee pain, I would, try everything I could before I would have to have surgery.
Yes. I mean, and Elise in our community, she's a wonderful example of that. They've been trying to have her have a knee replacement and she's still going. Has finally given in. She is about to do that. But even if you look at, Christine or you look at Betty, both of them have had knee replacements, so they know that they need to keep that flexibility in the rest of their body to have those knees functioning the best way they possibly can.
Yeah.
And they do so much.
Yeah.
They do so much.
And, I always, because I look at the people that are around me, and the two operations that you hear people having is knee surgery and back surgery.
Yeah.
And, from the people that I know, and this is my perspective, I don't know anybody else's perspective, but from the people that I know, they've had that surgery, but they still have issues.
Yes.
I think those two surgeries are very, they can be wonderful for you or it can completely miss the mark type thing. And that's just from, this is not a medical opinion or anything. This is people that I know and that I see, and
I totally agree. The minute you were talking about Shane, I in my mind, it was like that was my dad when he was alive. He'd always say, "Oh, my knee's so sore." It's hot, and so it was only the one knee. He'd had two knee replacements, but one knee. It was always giving him, grief. And so that was super frustrating for him. But if you use Shane as a great example, because he is still exercising, and he has other health issues as well as that.
He does, and he just knows how important it is to keep moving. Because he says without his movement, he said I would just sit in a chair all day.
Yeah,
I wouldn't move. Yeah. He's just so inspirational.
Yeah, totally. So what do you want to finish up with today, Sel?
I just want to finish up with, Peter was talking before, you were talking before, Peter, about, your ankles could be causing your knee pain, or your glutes or your hips could be causing your knee pain. When we think of our bodies, ladies, don't think of it as separate areas. Everything is connected. You literally have ligaments and tendons running from your neck, running down through your core, through your glutes, through your hips, down your legs, in your knees, down to your ankles. So everything is connected. And so it's so important what Peter was saying before is, you know, putting some focus into your hips, putting some focus into your glutes, putting focus into your core, because everything is so connected in our bodies.
I'm having a big smile on my face because we're on exactly the same chain, same wavelength here. So it's funny, we do our notes individually and we just come together and have these chats. And so I was thinking about it as a chain, okay? So if you think about a chain, when a chain is actually broken, yeah, then, you know, the rest of the train is just not going to be able to do anything for you. So, yeah, it is all connected, ladies. And so if one part breaks down, what is going to happen is another part of your body is going to step in and do the work. And in this case, the knees step in and act as mobility joints rather than stability joints. Think about your knees. They're shock absorbers for your body. So what we want to do is have the muscles working the way that they should do. And the joints, we want to keep them as mobile as we possibly can. And that way we're going to avoid, let's say we're going to age-proof our knees.
Yeah, perfect.
Thanks for joining me today, Sal.
Thank you for having me as always. Have a wonderful
pleasure.
week, everybody. And
See
you
all.
too, Peter.
Yes, I will indeed. Thank you for joining us today, ladies. We're going to put up a link to our 21-day knee pain solution as well, so you can check it out. If anything today has resonated with you, then you go, yep, I am definitely in that, because we want all women to be able to play and participate energetically in our lives. And we know that movement is at the very foundation of that. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Absolutely.
See you all soon. You got another?
Sorry, Peter, can I just say to ladies, if it's not you with knee pain, but it's somebody that you know,
yeah.
send the link on.
Yeah,
send
absolutely.
The link on and let them know too. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
Beautiful.
See you all. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys. Bye.